So my patent pending technique for tracking down defunct and dead payphone locations using public information, public records, turned up another possibility. And I don't know if it's still going to be here. I also don't know what kind of area this is, if I should be brandishing an expensive looking camera. Even though it's not really that expensive. Hillside Avenue is really a dazzling ride if you have an eye for big mansions, big huge houses. There's like tons of them. Not sure what you call this area. My resource uses maps, but they're not what you'd call user-friendly maps. They don't identify neighborhoods. Okay, I thought I was going the wrong way, and I was. This is 86th Drive. Somewhere in Queens. 20916, to be exact. An old Verizon relic. Definitely be looking that number up when I get home. It's got the old Phone 1 stickers on it, or placards. Just forgotten. And maybe there are others around here. I spotted this little shrub on the bus. Can't see it yet. But this will be perfect for the talk to me. Not really sure where that's at in terms of new installations, but this will be the perfect setup. Just drop your phone in and stick your solar panels up. So it's 197th Street and Hillside Avenue. Not much to look at really, but there it is. And this guy or this person is all over the place. I think this exact sticker was on the Doomsday phone. So I guess this is Hollis Park Gardens, at least this particular stretch of road. And that's what I was talking about with the pretty big houses, maybe not as big as I thought from when I was on the bus, but pretty big houses. That first area was making me a little nervous. Maybe it shouldn't have, but it's, low-rise buildings on a Sunday, and people just kind of sitting around, looking around. And then here's some guy that they don't recognize taking pictures of a fucking payphone. That happened, something like that happened when we were, this is a pretty good size house. When my friend and I were scouting out locations in the Bronx, we ended up in one of the African enclaves where we spotted an empty pedestal, and we jumped out of the car and we just started asking these black guys all these questions about the payphones. We're like, yeah, this isn't conspicuous at all. Just a couple of white guys jump out of a car and start asking a bunch of questions about an old payphone. This is beauty. Look at that. Somebody's taking care of this place. And there's some more big houses. I wonder if that's a working well. Look at that grass. Immaculate. There's some evidence. I just had a little bus snafu. I got on a Q17 thinking it was going to Flushing, but it was going the other way. So now I have to wait 17 minutes before I can use my Metro card again. Fine with me. Just this is kind of a weird formation. This reminds me of a time I opened my curtains and found that the window behind it was completely covered with big fat flies. That happened in college a long time ago. So I sprayed the hell out of them and listened to them die one by one plop by plop. And how could I not notice this? It's everybody's new favorite thing in New York. These Link 5G monstrosities. They don't do anything, and they probably won't do anything until next year, if ever. The business model for these is supposed to be that they're going to sell 5G antennae to the big four carriers, big four phone carriers. That's a business model that has not been proven, and I don't know how they push this through, but in the meantime, we're stuck looking at this big swab thing. This is really funny. That's an ad for the Talk to Me thing. Is presently part of this exhibit at the, what is it called anyway? The Pastor House or something. Poster House, sorry. And this ad for that exhibit just showed up on my phone. That's the Talk to Me phone that they stuck in the old booth. I haven't been to this exhibit, but Jordan sent me something about it. That's weird that ad just shows up while I'm out here doing this stuff.
Không ạ.
Budget track 450, 500.
Cuando llegó que había que va a correr y todo, yo me...
payphone did not work last week, although it wasn't completely dead. It's back. Wow. There have been some signs of life in what's left of the PTS phones. Last week, the one at 14th Street got jammed with dimes, and I didn't want to admit it, but I'm the asshole who did it. It was by mistake. It's a long story. But somebody came and cleared the dimes out. So somebody's taking care of these things. I actually registered an 800 number, a toll-free number, in case I encounter another phone that gets jammed like that one. Yep, it works. Sounds like there's a bit of a hum, but I don't care. Wait, what was I saying? I don't remember. I was saying something else. I'm feeling distracted today. Anyway, that's the sign of life. This one works. It did not work last week. Oh, I registered a toll-free number because, well, first of all, I was like, if I can't use this phone because the coin is jammed, I should have an 800 number backup just in case. Because it's so critical, right? And truth be told, making calls to a toll-free number is a lot cheaper than paying 50 cents per 15 minutes. And that's the truth. And I would check on the other one, but there's that dude standing right next to it. He probably doesn't care, but... Yeah, I don't know if this is some kind of game or a duel going on between the street vendor here and well, never mind. Let's see what happens. Welcome to the Talk to Me network. Please hold while we connect you to another New Yorker. Somebody stuffed their diapers up there. Ring, ring, ring. But while it's ringing, I'll tell you that there seems to be a duel going on between the street vendor here, who's here 6 days a week, and Jordan, who, commandeered this old payphone location. Because the street vendors are obviously making it a little hard to get to, but not impossible. You'd have to be, what do they call it? Intrepid. And nobody's answering. How long will my intrepidness get me through? Look at all this stuff. Would you use this payphone? The solar panel's up where you can't see it. It's up on the roof. Well, I'm told that all 4 of these phones are supposed to be active. Yeah, hello. I don't know, I just kept hearing there weren't any payphones left in New York, and I found this thing. That's where you are? I didn't really know what was happening here, actually, but I'm over in, what is this anyway? Jackson Heights. No, it's Queens. But oh, you gotta go. All right, take it easy. He said he was from Jersey. He doesn't know what Jackson Heights is. What's a Jackson Heights anyway? If I remember right, you're supposed to let it reset or reboot or reincarnate itself before making another call. That guy sounded sleepy. He said, I didn't know this motherfucker worked. Okay. I'm probably going to get the same guy. He didn't sound too interested. I actually have something I want to talk about, but I suspect... Yeah, what's going on? Hanging out, where? You're living the dream, huh? What does that mean? Oh, it is a beautiful day out here. I know. I'm enjoying it. Where are you at? I'm in Queens. Okay, bye. I think he called me a gas bag. Yeah, there is actually something that I wanted to talk to a stranger about, but I don't think it's going to happen through this. Not today. So maybe I'll wait till I get home. Because I have a story for this week, man. I have a story for this week. All right, so before I get to my big story of the week, and there may actually be two big stories of the week, but we'll see. Wanted to introduce you to my new girlfriend, and this was the resource that helped me find today's first payphone of the day. The one up in what I now think was called Cunningham Heights. I'm not sure if that's the name of that area or the name of the apartment complex, but whatever the case, I randomly found that payphone through this resource, which I discovered at work, and I just spend half my day when I'm not doing anything else. I spend half my day clicking away on Zola, New York City's zoning and land use map. I'm not a zoning geek or anything, but it has always fascinated me the nuances to New York City's zoning rules and all the little loopholes that developers find to screw poor neighborhoods. But just to show you what I've been using this for, this is the default, or this could be the default setting. I don't know what you get really when you've hit it for the first time. But there's a real gem hidden underneath all of this. First of all, you enable tax lots, and that is basically a building block lot number, which is a single building, a house, an apartment building, a structure of some sort. And then I'll go down here. Oh, this is cool, by the way, just an aside. Like, among the other interesting things, you can illuminate the subway system like this in a way that it's like showing the varicose veins of New York in a way. And it shows the subway system in its topographical reality versus the subway map that we're used to seeing. I wish there doesn't seem to be a way to include the bus system in this, and I guess that's probably just as well, because it would be a unreadable spaghetti soup of arteries and veins and lines, all with no real aorta except maybe Flushing. But the subway map like this is cool to see it for what it really is, and you zoom in and you get the individual station names, and that's all you get. You don't get the more detailed stuff like what transfers or connections you can make, but whatever. Zola's cool. I'm just saying, this is my new girlfriend. And for what I'm about to demonstrate, the hidden jewel under all of this is I'll also activate the 3D buildings thing, which that means when you zoom in closer and closer and closer, you'll start to see the outlines of the buildings, and that's nothing new. Obviously, this is all open source, open, whatever the hell they call it now. The building outlines are taken from the OpenStreetMap source, and it's, filled with inaccuracies, but it's still pretty cool to see. And what this level of navigation lets you do, and here again, I'll come back. I don't mean to build up to this, but you click on any old building. I don't know anything about 208 Hale Avenue, but you can click on that and you can see who the owner is, Mr. Barrero. There's links to all this other stuff about the building, the BizWeb and the Acris and the HPD complaints. But here's the real hidden secret is Cyclomedia. It's this alternative to the Google and Microsoft Street Views that I just don't find anybody talking about this, and it's it's not perfect, and that little green squiggly thing is one of the main annoyances, but I'll let it go for now. You're not bombarded with ads, and the interface is clean and empty of anything except the imagery, but there doesn't seem to be any way to disable this obnoxious green squiggly thing. But let me focus on the positive. Cyclomedia also doesn't do as good a job as Google, at least, of erasing the car that they use that they drive around in to get the imagery. With the Street View, it's kind of, I don't know how they make it disappear, but it's it's not even there. But I don't care. I think this is the lack of clutter and the lack of, I don't know, clutter, yeah, makes this seem like a lot cleaner view of New York. I'll just might as well dive into my gripes about this. There's no keyboard navigation at all. The only way to get around is to click on the green things, the green squiggly things. And if I find a person, here you go. There's a person, and they do the face blocking as well as anybody. They also block license plates, but the squiggly thing lets you turn this person into something out of Altered States. Oh God, am I showing my age with that? Let me find a better, fuller-bodied person, because the green squiggly thing, when it consumes the person, is pretty funny. Where is this anyway? Is this Greenpoint? No, this isn't Greenpoint. There's no subway over Greenpoint. I wasn't paying attention to where it was. Anyway, I find the visual quality of the photos to be a lot better than Street View. I think just on account of the lack of clutter. They do blot out the faces and they blot out the license plates. And I'm just a little puzzled as to why there doesn't seem to be any discussion about this out there on those intertubes on the internet. Yeah, here's an example where I can make this guy look like he's, about to melt into the street. So let me close this and try for a different area. I just think it's pretty cool. I like it better than Street View, even with all its janky shortcomings. And I'm just surprised it doesn't seem to have any following. So my story for the week, and what I'm going to do now is I'm going to bop around through some of my old stomping grounds while I do this. This is my first sustained residence in New York. And by the way, I found another 181 connection. The total number of units at the crap Lincoln was 181. This was the Park Lincoln, as it was called, and then today it's called something else. It's called Amsterdam, like Amsterdam without most of its vowels. And this was my first long-term residence in New York. But my story for the week, if I'm not being too annoying and distracted, my story for the week is that I was at a dollar shop on Wednesday or Thursday. I heard somebody calling out my name. And I turned around and I saw a group of high school kids. Didn't look like anybody I knew. So I ignored it. And then I heard my name again, and it might be for a third time. And then after the third time, he says, "Don't you remember me?" And that's when I turned around and I saw this guy who I don't think I've seen in maybe 12 years. Probably, I'm going to say 15 years. I don't really care how quickly the years are passing. They don't mean anything to me anymore. But he says, "Don't you remember me?" And then he shouts out the name of the bar that used to be my regular, and then I remembered him. That's how I knew this guy was from. Well, I'm not going to name the bar, but I used to be pretty good friends with this guy. I had heard about him. I had heard a whole bunch about him, actually, from at least 3 mutual friends who had seen him over the last many years. The word was that the dude had become full-bore homeless. Something happened, something snapped, he just let it all go. Something seemed to have happened after his mother died, and his mother had kicked him out of the house. And then she moved back to India, where she died. And I don't know if it was these circumstances alone or other things, or just, I don't know. But that put him on the street, and he was living in boxes on Times Square, and he was like sleeping on subways, and he wasn't shaving for 2 years, and pretty hairy guy. So I heard about this. I could probably dig up how long ago it's been, but I heard about this from a mutual friend who encountered him on the subway, and he just she saw him at first and thought, well, there's a homeless guy, whatever. And then he gets up and starts talking to her, and he knows her name and reveals his identity, and she's like, oh my God, this is really weird. And she's, this is part of the story of my week, is like, she's looking at him like he's a bug. She's looking at him like he's a cockroach or something. And maybe I'll get back to that. But she had to get off the train anyway, so the encounter lasted probably like less than a minute. But that's where he just blurted out the whole story about his mother dying, and he's been homeless, and he's like full bore, living in boxes and stuff. I knew this guy well. At least I was reminded of something I saw somewhere online recently. There was a celebrity suicide, I think, and one of the comments was from somebody who said, she was the happiest person I thought I knew. And my sentiments about this person were in that same spirit. I thought I knew this guy reasonably well. I just never saw the mental illness. If that's even what this is. I'm left with a lot of questions that I don't want to answer, because this isn't my problem, and I don't intend to make it my problem or keep it there. So he starts talking. This is going back to this week. He starts talking, and it all starts coming back to me. We smoke pot at the cemetery, and always seem to have a good time. But like I said, I never saw the mental illness. I never saw the, what do you call it? Just the abdication of responsibility and just giving up and letting the system support him. I never would have seen that coming. He looked a little bit insane. He looked kind of maniacal. He looked like himself though. My earlier the earlier accounts of my friends who had seen him in years past said he looked unrecognizable. He was totally recognizable to me. He looks like he got a haircut, and his beard isn't the Grizzly Adams thing anymore, as I'm told that it was. And he looked fine. He looked healthy, but he had this kind of crazy maniacal look in his eyes, and that reminded me that this is why I liked the guy. He had an active mind, and he could talk about linguistics until you were like blue in the brain. He was just he just was an interesting guy. And I guess he still is, you could say. But as we were talking and we had this back and forth, I said almost nothing. I just said as little as possible because I just didn't think I had anything to say. He could see me. I think he could always see me. That was the thing about this guy. He could see everything about me. And I think he saw that my brain had shriveled to a peanut in the course of this probably 10-minute conversation. Maybe not even that long. And I'm telling you, if I had not taken my anxiety med earlier, if I hadn't taken my panic pill, as I like to call it, I might have, like, I don't know what would have happened. I think my head would have fucking exploded. Exploded. I lived in this one. Or no, wait, no, it was the top floor. 5057 Broadway. I lived there. I don't remember this ladder being there. That's Broadway and 216th Street. So anyway, we're having this conversation, or it's a pretty one-sided conversation, which is typical of him, because he's like me. He's kind of a selfish prick. And the only thing he really got out of me is that I have a job now, and that I work for the city. I don't think he knows what that means. But he did at least come down from his high horse. He was just talking about how happy he is to be free and living off the system and living off the land. I know he was lying. I remember this guy. I know he was lying. He had that look of maniacal. I don't know what I don't know what the word is. That look of mania kind of slipped away when he started talking like that. I could tell that he knew he was lying, and that he knew I knew he was lying, but we both saw right through each other. And like I said, he saw that my brain had shriveled to a peanut in the course of this altercation, and I think he might have given me a break because of it. He said some shit to suggest that he didn't appreciate what people were saying about him, and by that he meant our mutual circles of acquaintance. I honestly didn't have anything to say to that. I wasn't just shutting up for the sake of shutting up. I didn't know what to say to that because I don't know what other people are saying. I mean, the accounts that I had heard from others kind of offended me. Like I said, some of these are friends of mine, and they talked about this guy like he was a cockroach. But here again, like when I'm confronted with him, I'm circling around in my head with thoughts of like, what am I afraid of? Why am I scared of this? It's not contagious, is it? I'm not going to become homeless by association. Um, he's not going to breathe on me, and I'm going to have to go get vaccinated and boosted. And what am I afraid of? I guess it comes down to money. You're afraid this guy's going to hit you up for money, and guess what? That's exactly what he did, and I ignored that. He said something to suggest that all the other of our friends that he encountered had spotted him $50 or $20 or something. I didn't see any value in that. I didn't see any value in just, feeding the problem. But the homeless, I mean, I guess it's John Lennon allegedly said that woman is the nigger of the world. I think that's what a lot of folks feel about the homeless. The new, not even going to use that word again, but so this is where Upper Manhattan merges with, what is this called anyway? This bridge, I don't remember what this is called, but you walk over it and you're in Marble Hill. And I didn't get around a whole lot when I lived up here, but I do remember it. This fucking noisy number 19 train kept me up weeks on end. I moved from here to the Swank, 509 East 78th, which is, by the way, a landmark building. And that helps explain how I got the apartment in the first place. I type in 509 and it gives me 503. I don't know why that is, but I don't care. I think that they're all like combined. The official address would be something like 503-509. But that's 503. Well, let's see if I can make this dude look like Lou Ferrigno. Yeah, sometimes you can wrap the green squiggly thing around a person, but it doesn't always work. This was where I lived for, I think, 3 years. And the reason I got when I was looking at the apartment, I was like, why is this place so empty? And little did I know that it had been slated for demolition, and they were going to build a whole bunch of this. They were going to build a whole bunch of 80-story high-rises on top of these very old buildings. And so when I got this place, I didn't know that people were moving out in droves because it had been slated for demolition. This whole block was supposed to go. But the whole series of buildings got approved as landmarks, so you couldn't destroy them. So I got pretty lucky getting an Upper East Side pad at the time, because I was ignorant to the fact that 509 was not supposed to be around much longer. So I guess that was my third official place. I had 2 places at the Park Lincoln, and then the place up on Upper Broadway, and then this place. I really wish I'd never left this place, but don't get me started. So I'll wrap up my day story about the homeless encounter with just, I'm left. I talk to the homeless at my job. I've never known a homeless person as well as I knew this guy, or as well as I thought I knew this guy.
I mean, he had me figured out, man. Dude saw right through me. I think that's still true. And it goes both ways. Like, I saw his bullshit this week, all the same as he saw my insecurities and my whiteness, as he used to call it. But I'm left with this dilemma of, I'm asking myself, what was I afraid of in this encounter? He reached into his coat pocket and pulled out a Budweiser, and he drank from it. And we were standing, this was in I think I said a 99-cent shop. He reached into his other pocket to show off his pipes because he's got constant cannabis on him. When he was reaching into his pocket, I thought he was going to pull out a ghost gun and just shoot me dead. And I'm like, if there's a God, I'm ready to go, but don't let it be like this. Take me in a different way. Don't let it be a pot-headed ghost gun. Yeah, I know, my anxieties ran me amok. And like I said, if I hadn't downed that anxiety pill earlier that day, I don't know. I don't know what I would have acted like. But I'm left asking, what am I afraid of? What are my attitudes or sentiments about the homeless? I mentioned that I talk to them every day now on the phone, and there's a very discreet distance that provides. And until now, the most I encountered of the homeless was just, chit chat with dudes asking for change. I don't know. Oh, by the way, this Cyclomedia has a time. You can go back in time. It goes back to 2017, I think. Right, and that's where you can see where there used to be a couple of payphones here. That's what it's all about, right? And if I go back to where... Oh, this is another thing I love about this, is if you hit the back button, you zoom up and you zoom back to where you were before. So now I think I'm back at where... What is this anyway? Oh, I'm back at 5057. I wanted to be back at zoom. Right, the Park Lincoln. Where, if we go back in time, should see a payphone right about here. Yep, bingo. There it is. How long was that one still there? Yeah, I'm sorry if this is getting boring, but I'm a hot date, right? Well, you can't see it there. Still there in 2018. All right, I'm going to stop now.